Jacob finally reaches a turning point in his nightmare at work in tonight's Emmerdale, as Todd admits the truth behind her cruel scheme. But can Jacob use the confession to clear his name? Thursday's episode follows Jacob as he decides to officially report his boss, though events quickly spiral out of control and leave him feeling forced to deal with the situation himself. Earlier this week, Jacob opened up to Sarah about the pressure and harassment he has been facing at the hospital after struggling in silence for weeks. Sarah stood firmly by his side and reassured him that he would not have to face the ordeal alone. In tonight's scenes, Sarah once again encourages Jacob to fight back against the bullying. She later challenges Vanessa for trusting Todd's version of events, but Vanessa reveals details about the bathroom incident that Sarah had never heard before. At the same time, Jacob arrives at the hospital ready to file an official grievance against Todd through HR after previously losing the nerve to go through with it. His plan soon falls apart when Carol informs him that Todd has already submitted a complaint first, backed up with recordings and detailed evidence accusing Jacob of inappropriate conduct. Feeling defeated, Jacob becomes convinced he cannot beat someone as manipulative as Todd, believing she will always stay ahead of him. He later admits to Sarah that continuing the battle feels pointless. Sarah refuses to let him quit and gives him an emotional boost, reminding him to make both his late mother and daughter proud. Inspired by her words, Jacob heads to Tuggill to confront Todd directly over the accusations. During the tense exchange, Jacob secretly records the conversation and manages to get Todd to confess that the evidence against him was fake. Todd mocks the situation by admitting she may have been creative with the complaint, insisting that people only believe the version of events that suits them, and claiming nobody would ever take Jacob's side. However, Todd soon realizes Jacob has been recording her. She snatches his phone and erases the crucial audio before he can use it against her. With the evidence destroyed, Jacob is left wondering if he will ever expose the truth and finally get justice. Joe Tate may have unknowingly sealed his own fate in Emmerdale, while Dawn is left astonished by how deeply his feelings for her are influencing his decisions. It's surprising to see Joe so consumed by love that he can no longer recognize the danger unfolding right in front of him. Yet that's exactly where the story now stands. This week, Dawn finally put her revenge scheme into action after uncovering the truth about Joe's past behavior. She discovered he had blackmailed Victoria, framed Moira and sent her to prison, and even destroyed Holly's memorial tree. Although Dawn challenged him over everything he had done, Joe continued denying the accusations, leaving her completely fed up. Together, Dawn, Moira and Kane agreed that stripping Joe of everything he owns would be far more satisfying than seeking violent revenge. Their plan began yesterday when Dawn deliberately complained to Joe about Belle being impossible to work with at Take a Vow. Pretending she wanted to buy Belle out of the business, Dawn watched as Joe eagerly stepped in and offered to provide the money himself. Later, Dawn arrived at Wishingwell and happily informed Belle and Moira that Joe's money would soon land in her bank account. Instead of purchasing the company, however, Dawn secretly intended to keep the cash for herself and use it later on. Tonight's episode also featured an uncomfortable encounter between Dawn and Billy after Lucas innocently revealed that Dawn is expecting Joe's child. Billy immediately became concerned about Lucas, Clemmy and Evan, fearing Joe would prioritize his own biological child above the others once the baby is born. Dawn hinted that she had a bigger plan involving Joe, but stopped short of revealing the full truth to Billy in case he reacted badly and ruined everything. Still, the conversation sparked another idea for Dawn. Later, while speaking with Joe, Dawn questioned whether he might begin neglecting the other children once their baby arrives. Joe laughed off the concern at first and seemed shocked she would even ask such a thing if they are supposedly deeply in love. Wanting to reassure her, Joe responded in the way he always does when problems appear, by using his wealth to solve them. Joe promised Dawn that he would set up trust funds for Clemmy, Lucas, Evan, and their unborn baby to prove he would care for them equally and ensure they all have secure futures. Although Dawn appreciated the gesture, she was also visibly stunned. Joe's willingness to hand over huge sums of money so easily, along with the trust funds and the money for Take a Vow, strongly suggests that his love for Dawn is clouding his judgment. The question now is whether Joe has any idea that Dawn is manipulating him behind the scenes, or whether she is truly on the verge of taking everything from him without him noticing. Beowulf faces a painful setback in Emmerdale next week, as disturbing memories from his traumatic ordeal resurface during his first shift back at work. After the dramatic court case involving Bear, Paddy and Dylan over Ray Walters' death, Bear returns home hoping to rebuild his life by taking a job at Caleb's depot. However, adjusting to normal life proves far more difficult than he expected. The experiences Bear suffered at Celia's farm continue to haunt him, and even small comments or certain behavior patterns are enough to drag him back into those terrifying memories. Unfortunately, Jai's strict management style unknowingly becomes a trigger during Bear's first days on the job. Trying to move forward, Bear begins working at the depot alongside Mandy, who has been struggling ever since rumours connected Paddy to a murder investigation. Business at the salon has suffered badly, raising questions over whether Mandy has been forced to step away from the career she loves. Determined to motivate his staff, Jai introduces a competitive productivity chart to encourage everyone to work harder. Bear throws himself into the challenge and ends up winning the first day, briefly boosting his confidence. But the positive moment quickly disappears when something Jai says accidentally reminds Bear of the abuse and punishment he suffered while trapped at Celia's farm. Bear becomes overwhelmed as memories of the past come flooding back. Having spent so long living in fear of punishment, he pushes himself too hard at work, terrified of making mistakes. The pressure eventually causes him to spiral emotionally. As his distress grows, Bear lashes out at Mandy and Kerry. However, the women soon realize something deeper is wrong after noticing him physically recoil and flinch when Jai raises his voice nearby. Concerned that Bear is struggling to adapt to everyday life again, Mandy and Kerry decide to speak privately with Jai and explain the lasting impact the trauma has had on him. Once Jai understands the situation, his attitude softens considerably. Realizing Bear is still deeply affected by everything he endured, Jai reassures him that the depot is a safe environment and nothing like the nightmare he escaped from. With support beginning to grow around him, Bear now faces the difficult challenge of overcoming his past and learning how to live normally again after everything he has been through. Emmerdale actor James Hooton has spoken out to clear up rumours surrounding Sam Dingle's future after reports falsely claimed he was leaving the ITV soap. Hooton first joined Emmerdale in 1995 before departing in 1998, later returning permanently to the role in 2000. Since then, Sam has become one of the show's most recognisable and long-running characters. After online speculation suggested his time on the soap was coming to an end, Hooton addressed the claims directly on Facebook and reassured fans that he has no plans to leave the series anytime soon. In his message, the actor confirmed that he remains under contract with Emmerdale until March 2027 and joked that he will only leave if the show decides to get rid of him. He also poked fun at previous false rumours about him, mentioning that at least this time people were not claiming he had died from a stroke, referencing another bizarre online story from earlier this year. Fans quickly flooded the comments section with supportive messages, making it clear how important Sam remains to the programme. One viewer said the writers would never want to remove Sam because he is such a lovable and entertaining character, while another admitted the show would not feel the same without him. Others praised both Sam and Kane for being central figures in Emmerdale for many years, with some joking that ITV would face uproar from viewers if Sam was ever written out. Away from the soap, Hooton recently shared a personal family update on social media as he revealed that his daughter Lily was preparing to head off on her travels. Posting online, the actor explained that the family had enjoyed one final breakfast together before Lily began her trip, which will see her spend 78 nights abroad, visiting numerous countries. Houghton admitted he felt emotional about her departure, but said he was incredibly proud that she had organised and funded the adventure entirely by herself. Emmerdale airs on weekday evenings at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and is also available to stream on ITVX.